Hello guys, and welcome back for episode 2 of WingingItFM podcast, a football manager and real life podcast which we'll be going through weekly. Today's topic is on transfers on deadline day, ourselves recording this, and we've got with us today SammyDodaFM. How you doing, mate?
I am doing perfect. How you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm all good. And RampantFM, how you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm glad to be back on this.
Yeah, it's good to get the second episode recording. And yeah, we'll just go through the structure today. So we're going to go through our Football Manager save updates in a second. Then we're going to have our general thoughts on deadline day. Then go through a bit of transfers in real life, what's happened today and during this transfer window. And then transfers in Football Manager, positives and negatives. Are they actually realistic? We'll then go through our Creator of the Week, and because Sammy won the quiz last week, unbelievable. Still can't believe it. He'll be hosting the quiz later, so it's myself, CookieFM against Rampant, and then obviously we'll end with a few plugs. So yeah, let's go into FM save updates. So Sammy, I know you're buzzing to tell us.
Yes, I actually am for once. Basically, so since we last recorded, I've gone through like a season and a half now. I've just been playing non-stop. And I'll just talk you through that last season. So, I was expecting to be in a relegation battle come the end of the season. But we might have finished 7th in the Prem, which, for Luton, and being the first time in the Prem following our relegation the season before, obviously, I feel that's quite impressive. And then suddenly some quality players. Like, just one to point out is that Onamar guy at goalkeeper. But then sadly he got injured and now he's struggling to get through into the team again. Because I signed someone else amazing. But yeah, and also, this is the one to point out, I won the FA Cup following a 3-1 victory over Chelsea.
Wow.
Congrats.
I was in shock, honestly. Like, I was tempted to put on the Football's Coming Home song for Luton because obviously it's coming home to Luton. The FA Cup.
That's good, man. Congrats. What do you plan on doing the next time you load up the save?
I'm planning to win the Europa League. There you go.
Awesome. So stuff is going well with Luton, with Sammy. Rampant, how's your Football Manager been going?
Well, I've not actually uploaded in a week on YouTube, on my personal channel anyway. I've obviously been quite busy with other things as well as this. For my save, I think if I remember correctly, we had a win over Hamilton Accies, who were actually doing well in the table. I think they were third, so I think we're coming back for Hibs. Our former assistant manager, Steve Nicol, was in charge there, but he's actually been sacked by them. Haha. So they've had a bit of a resurgence lately, so it looks like they could be a decent test for us. But I think I'll be getting that uploaded quite soon. But I'm hoping for another one. I think their manager is actually now Craig Bellamy, so a bit of an interesting appointment there. But yeah, next time after that, I think we have Celtic, so it's probably another loss there as well. But our form has been a bit patchy, so if I can get 2 wins before the Celtic game, I'll be quite happy.
Yeah, it's always the challenge in Scotland is battling Celtic. Well, mainly Celtic at the moment, but Rangers are still a strong force on Football Manager.
Yep.
So when you load up the save next time, what's the first thing you're going to be doing?
Well, actually, I just remembered, I think we might be into January when we play Celtic, so I will be having a look at some transfers. I'm definitely looking at a few people to bring in. Unfortunately, a couple of them are regens, which I don't like to do. I'd like to try and keep it quite realistic, but when you're in your 4th, sort of 5th season, you have to go with some regens sometimes, especially if they're going to be pretty decent.
Yeah, exactly. And onto my save. So for those of you that don't know, on my YouTube channel I've started a new Schalke series. We've started 1 season into the future, which puts us at the 2018-19 season. From the last point of recording, so the last episode that's gone out on YouTube, we beat, I think they're called Siegen. They're in the lower leagues of Germany, and we beat them like 6-1 in the first round of the cup. Pretty routine victory, really. They didn't really challenge us. We've struggled tactically to find the right formation to fit the players we've got. So I'm not really looking forward to starting the league season. I won't say much more than that because that episode is on YouTube. But after that episode, we have since changed tactic. So there's been like an overhaul in the tactics department. The next time I load up the save, I will be recording the next LiveCon match, which I believe is against Hoffenheim.
I remember watching your episode 2, and that first goal came in. It made me laugh, the celebration.
Oh, is that when the writing comes across as well?
Yeah.
You have no idea how much I creased up doing that. It was just hilarious. I ran down to the missus as well and was like, watch this. And she just stared at me.
I wanted to clip it and post it onto Twitter.
Oh, you should have done, mate. Okay, so moving on from specifically our Football Manager updates. Deadline day. So just really our opinions and thoughts on the facet that is deadline day. I mean, for me, I think it's a complete waste of time. I think clubs should do their business early and not get drawn into the, in inverted commas, panic buys. I also think it gives players a little bit of pushing power. I think there's less pushing power now for Premier League clubs because of the deadline day being brought forward to before the league season starts. But then you've got other deadline days which are not the same date, so then players can still leave. So in that respect, leaving to foreign countries, players still have a sense of power in when and where they can go. Sammy, your thoughts on deadline day?
I actually I like the fact it's been moved forward, because then, everything can get underway before the season starts, everything can get prepared. But then, at the same time, I have two things to raise here. First of all, surely the EFL season should be pushed back a week. So their season starts at the same time as the transfer window closes, so it makes more sense for them, other than just going Premier League as normal. But then also the fact that if they were to do this window, which obviously they have done, closing it really early, I honestly think there should be a thing that every single at least European transfer window should also close at the same time, so you don't have people leaving during obviously the Premier League season still, when you can't bring in any replacements for those particular players if it needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, that is the thing, isn't it? The European leagues, I think Italy is the only other European league that closes before the 31st of August. I think it's the 18th of August, I think it is. But the rest of them, even Scotland, is 31st of August. And EFL clubs can still loan players until the 31st of August.
Yeah, exactly. I think they should all be started at the same time to make it easier for everyone else, especially the English teams now that are under a slight dilemma when it comes to people putting in bids for their players when obviously our transfer window is closed.
Yeah, Rampant, yeah. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with you and Sammy. Obviously, I think having the transfer deadline day sort of before the league season starts is a good thing. But obviously, with foreign clubs having later dates, like what you were saying, obviously players could be likely to leave. Obviously, weakening the team, and maybe if they get like a decent bid from like even a Chinese sort of Super League team. Like, for example, at Spurs, Musa Dembele was obviously linked with a lot of, we could end up losing him because of an amazing offer from, one of the Chinese teams or something like that. Interestingly enough, Sammy mentioned a point I was going to make about the EFL as well. Obviously, their league season starts a week before the EPL, so it's a bit of a strange one why they didn't have like their transfer window a week back. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I mean, I'm not too concerned with the transfer window. Again, it's up to the clubs to make the moves and whatnot. I just don't know why some clubs decide to leave it till really late. It's just very strange. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think as a United fan, obviously deadline day is pretty pants for us, because especially since we've had Woodward as chief exec, he doesn't really do any business on deadline day.
You know my pain. You know my pain as a Spurs fan, mate.
Yeah. But then it's like we were saying before we started recording. Like, I don't think Tottenham actually need anyone.
Yeah.
Just like, I would say for United, we needed one centre back.
You could have had Toby. You could have had Toby for 80 million.
Well, apparently the deal was like, we give you, I think it was between 40 and 60 million for Toby, and then we give you Martial or something. Yeah,
Spurs really wanted Martial, but I don't think Man United were that keen on letting him go. Plus, like a huge sum, like 60 million, if I remember correctly. From what I heard, it's obviously just reports and whatnot.
It just annoys me about why on earth the EFL are allowing loans to happen to the 31st, while transfers have to be stopped, obviously today, on the 9th. Doesn't make sense. Why they can't just stop them both at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's because the loan windows are different throughout all levels.
Oh yeah, they are, aren't they?
I think there's obviously some people that say they want it scrapped. I mean, I don't agree with that to an extent, because you would have like the likes of Man City chopping and changing every month or so, you know. So I do believe that they do need a transfer window, but they certainly, as I think we've sort of said, they do need like a standard for at least all of Europe to do their negotiating, not giving any league like such as Serie A or La Liga an advantage over other leagues because they have a later or earlier transfer window sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I do think the whole of Europe needs to come to an agreement where if the transfer window stops on the 10th of August, then it stops for every country on the 10th of August.
Yep.
Because I know Russian clubs have a different transfer window for the rest of Europe as well.
I think it's difficult for the likes of Russian clubs because their season's obviously different. I think their season starts in, like, I might be wrong in this, but I'm sure it's like earlier in the year. I'm sure it's like February or something like that, after the winter months and stuff. But certainly mainland Europe sort of thing, like UK, Spain, France, I don't see why they can't have like a similar transfer window, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think Norway's the same as well. It's their season is the opposite to ours.
Yeah, I think it's
like the same. It's like the same format as America, where they start really late, don't they? Early in the year, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's mainly due to like obviously weather, because I don't think you can really be playing like football in like a wintry Moscow or something like that, you know. So.
Yeah.
But then you can't really be playing football until you had the World Cup, because that was really hot, wasn't it? And then you also hear about places like Qatar, which obviously has been moved to winter, if I'm correct.
I don't know how they're going to work that with the Premier League season. I really don't. They're going to have to. I mean, it's a bit bizarre. I mean,
maybe if they like move the winter period to the summer period, but then obviously mess up the following season.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to agree to that, because it's not obviously just the English league. It affects a lot of the European leagues that sort of start around this time, and then it's a weird one. I don't know why Qatar was even fought off because of the problems with weather, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It'll certainly be interesting to see the likes of FM or FIFA and that implement that in a game dynamic if we don't know how it's going to work in real life.
Okay, so I think we've discussed deadline day and our opinions and thoughts on deadline day quite enough. Moving on to transfers in real life then. Let's start with Sammy. Sammy, transfers in real life?
I just want to give a huge round of applause for like Fulham, that is total. They spent. I was hearing about it on Dale and Day on Sky Sports News. They spent apparently over 100 million, and just coming up from the Championship, which in my opinion is just absolutely ridiculous. You know, they've signed really good quality players as well. Like they've signed Angrisa, I think that's how you pronounce it, for 22.3 million. Also that Rico goalkeeper guy.
Fantastic signing.
And Vieto. And so, they have everything. But then just the transfer deadline day was really stale until like the final 45, 50 odd minutes. Where it went crazy. Like there's loads of things happening. Like right now I've just seen that Brighton have just signed Martin Montoya from Valencia, which in my opinion is a great signing for them. And, just looking through BC Sport here, it's ridiculous the quality of players that like Fulham and Everton in particular have been able to sign, like West Ham as well. It's just insane, mate. With the the signings they've made in previous years, I feel it's quite amazing that they've been able to pull this off and do better business than Manchester United and Spurs, obviously.
Oh, hang on. It's firing all the shots.
True though, it's true.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think a lot of the teams that have made changes, I do believe Tottenham and Man United are probably better teams than them still with them transfers, in fairness.
But then, just one small thing to add is that obviously with like the Everton, West Ham, that's added nearly a whole new squad to their team. It's going to be quite hard for them to gel together, considering they've signed everyone so late in the window.
Yeah.
Which proves, obviously, their game happening on Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be proving quite difficult to see how they can perform. So, don't know whether they can perform at the start, but hopefully, as they train more together, they'll gel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rampant, what's your thoughts on some transfers that have happened?
Similarly with Sammy, I wasn't that impressed with the transfer deadline day. I think Everton done some really decent business, which I was expecting, to be honest, because obviously they have sort of spent the money the last... I think I touched on that in the last episode. They've spent some money the last couple of seasons. Fulham impressed me, obviously spending over 100 million. It's a bit mental, considering, but they did need depth, so hopefully that will save them from where I think they'll possibly be towards the end of the season. All in all, the transfer, I think there's only been one club in particular, well, maybe two clubs, Liverpool, who I kind of touched on last season. I think they have made some fantastic signings. More so sort of nearer today, I would say Chelsea are probably the second team that you've kind of went, wow, that's a decent signing. I know they've lost Courtois, but Kepa's a fantastic keeper. Who else did they bring in? Mateo Kovacevic on loan from Real Madrid, and Jorginho. I think they're really decent signings. I'll be interested to see how the teams gel though, especially Liverpool and Chelsea. Obviously they do want to be up there again and sort of top four, possibly even challenging for the title. So yeah, them two I think needed it most in terms of trying to get back to where they are. Obviously Arsenal as well. Spurs obviously never signed anyone, but again, I think we discussed it. They kind of have a sort of strong backbone at the moment anyway, whereas they're still quite young as well, so they'll always improve season out, obviously with Champions League and whatnot. So, but yeah, not really impressed with transfer deadline day, as I said, but certainly the transfers just in general, I think Liverpool and Chelsea are probably the teams that have made the most impact.
Yeah, so
Now point out, how on earth do you say Kepa's actual name?
That's why I said Kepa, mate. I don't want to try. I don't want to try and pronounce that.
I was just going to touch on that transfer. Do we actually think that's a good bit of business? Courtois has gone to Real Madrid for 35 million. They've obviously given Chelsea the loan of Kovacic, and Chelsea have gone out and spent 72 million on what is pretty much an unknown keeper in like the top class of elite players.
Well, it's like anything else. Obviously, I was discussing this with someone earlier actually, but obviously you had Alisson went to Liverpool for 67 million, and now Kepa's went to Chelsea for 70 million. These guys are going to end up making mistakes, and it'll be, you know what, the papers write themselves. It'll be like the most expensive keepers flop. It'll be like Loris Karius all over again if they do make mistakes. It's a lot of pressure on them, but I think they're both quality keepers. I think they're off that standard, and they're both. If I'm right, I'm not sure about Kepa if he's still quite young, but I think he might be. I know Alisson's quite young, so. Yeah, they've got like a whole future ahead of them to play at that level. It'll be interesting to see how their first season goes, though.
And I think it's quite amazing that that if you look through previous years, how often have you seen two keepers being the most expensive transfer deals of the window? Because that's what we've seen this window, and I feel that's quite impressive to see at least two.
The funny thing about it is PSG got Gigi Buffon for free. You know what I mean? It's a bit weird.
Yeah, I mean, I want to liken Kepa to David De Gea. I think in his first couple of seasons he might struggle, especially against teams like Burnley, Huddersfield, and teams that are going to fight and whip balls into the box and challenge the goalkeeper. Especially because that's what happened in De Gea's first season.
Yeah.
Absolutely just went for him, and just the amount of times that players could have got sent off for what they did to De Gea in his first season. But then this is the big question, if Chelsea stick with him, I think he will be better than De Gea.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, definitely. I think Chelsea, why I added Chelsea to that, not only was the signing for Kepa, but certainly if they've got Kovacic from Real Madrid, Kante, and Jorginho in midfield, that's like a perfect midfield trio, in my opinion. I think that's like what people might even play in like their draft sort of, what they do on FM. So, I mean, that's like, you've got creative, you've got defensive mind, and you've got like an absolute ball winner. So that's just like, for me, that's a really good trio for midfield. It depends how it works with everything else, because Jorginho, not so much Kovacic, but I think Jorginho might struggle to begin with, like you were saying about Kepa. A lot of the players that don't have EPL experience, it is a more physical league than the likes of maybe Spain. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these players cope. I mean, they could be decent in League One or Ligue 1, or whatever the French pronunciation is, or Serie A, but it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be success in the EPL, and that's when you kind of feel our club spending far too much money on players that have had one decent season in another league. You know what I mean?
For me, I think the teams that have done the best business, not necessarily the teams that have been the busiest, but the teams that have done the best business, I would say West Ham have done the best business in terms of getting players in, because they really needed to strengthen after last season's disappointment. They needed more attacking threat, more midfield depth. I don't think they've added much to the defence apart from Issa Diop. I think he's pretty much the only defender they've signed. I could be wrong.
I think I said, mentioned West Ham in the last episode. They have made decent signings on paper, but again, Issa Diop has a massive disciplinary issue. He's a good defender on paper, but he's had 25 yellow cards in his career, so that could be an issue. Who else did they sign? Felipe Anderson's had injury issues in the past, and then you've got Ermolenko, who's also been injured half the season. So it really depends on how their season goes in terms of if these players can keep fit and play, and that's why I say they're amazing signings, but it's keeping them fit that would worry me as a West Ham fan. If if I supported the club and whatnot, obviously I'm a Spurs fan, but but yeah, no, yeah, definitely. I think
if you think about it, if you think about it in a more negative way, you could say that every player they've signed really are old rejects that hasn't really shone up their previous squad.
Well, looking at Yarmolenko, he went to Borussia Dortmund, obviously. Huge things were expected him at Kiev, I think it was. And you look at a team like Borussia Dortmund, they obviously saw something. To get rid of him after one season, you're probably asking yourself why a club like Borussia would let him go after all this sort of potential and whatnot, you know. And that's what kind of worries me. Have West Ham really done a good deal, or is it, you know, basically, this guy's not what we thought he was. Let's, you know, give him to West Ham. You know, no disrespect to West Ham, but that's a lot of these signings. That's what it looks like to me. Is, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say another club that have done decent business is Fulham, who Sammy mentioned earlier. I mean, not only the players that you mentioned, Sammy, but they've also got the likes of Schürrle on loan for 2 seasons. They've recently got Joe Bryan today off Bristol City. I think he'll be a cracking signing. The amount of goals he scored last season for Bristol City at left back, he was quality.
I still cannot believe they signed Schürrle on loan. I'm amazed by that.
It's amazing what deadline day will throw at you.
That wasn't even deadline day, wasn't it? It was like in July.
No, that one was back earlier, but you know, the likes of Andre Gomez going to Everton. And
yeah, that surprised me.
Everton getting Bernard off Shakhtar for free.
That was a good signing, in my opinion.
That is ridiculous. And then
Andre Gomez is a weird one, in my opinion. Again, I don't think he's lived up to the heights since moving to Barcelona. And again, I think it's. Let's see how it reminds me. A lot of these transfers remind me of Renato Sanchez going to Swansea City last season. Bayern obviously loaned him out, had this huge potential. He played at Swansea. It kind of never really happened. A lot of these transfers, for me, are kind of like wait and see, basically.
Yeah.
Wait and see how the player does. If he's good enough, then we can sell him for like 30 million. If not, we'll give him for 10. But we'll make the English teams pay 30 million for the TV money and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. I think Andre Gomez hasn't lived up to his Barcelona potential, but I think Everton could be the level which he is.
Yeah, definitely.
And then just to finish on Lucas Perez going from Arsenal to West Ham for probably less than £4 million, I think.
I'm so hyped for West Ham this season. You know, they brought in some great signings, especially Perez. I think Perez could really work well. Just, again, depends. They need to try and find the correct formation, etc. Hopefully they can do that, and you never know, they could potentially come in the top half again. Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, things do look good based on, just like Rampant said, based on paper, based on names on the sheet. Things look good for West Ham and Wolves and Fulham. But, you know, as we always say, football's not played on paper.
Exactly. That was my point. Obviously, I don't want to be too negative with things. It's just having known, like, obviously, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm really into like Italian football and stuff. So I do know somewhat of like some of the players that have moved, like Felipe Anderson, for example. And yes, he has had this sort of thing over the last couple of seasons where he is seen as the next sort of Brazilian star, but he's also been injured. The last 2 seasons as well. He's only played like maybe 30 games in 2 years for Lazio, so it's like I would worry. I would definitely worry if I was a West Ham fan if he does get injured.
On to some actual Football Manager chat. Thank you for the feedback that everyone gave us during our first episode. It was noted that we didn't really talk about Football Manager that much. That was sort of just preparing for the Premier League season in real life. So going on to Football Manager, so we're going to talk about the transfers aspect of Football Manager, good parts, bad parts. So I think I'll start with this one because I had one in my new series which really annoyed me. And so as you know, I'm Schalke, and I had RBL, Red Bull Leipzig, bid for one of my players. I'm not going to try and pronounce his name because it's just terrible. But he's basically a deep line playmaker that was first team for me. I did have another option in the team if I decided to sell him. In the end, I did sell him, but for far less than I initially wanted. So RBL inquired how much I would want for him. So I said his release clause. They came back with a £20 million offer, which I rejected, because his release clause was 26 million. So, another 6 million, what's that? That's nothing to football clubs. And basically, a couple of days went by in Football Manager World, and they came back with an £8 million bid, which I rejected, because from 20 million to 8 million, it's a bit of a jump. And then obviously the player got unhappy, wanted to leave, so then ended up selling him for about 16 million with loads of add-ons. So yeah, I was really annoyed at that because he's probably worth about 30 million. But have you guys got any thoughts on transfers?
Yeah, I do. And the really annoying thing is that you like sometimes you have the board just automatically accept offers for you without even coming to you, and you can't do anything about it.
Mm.
I hate that because you don't even say this may be the best player on my team, might be worth 50 million, 60 million, whatever, but then they accept the bid straight away from him, and it's 10 million, 50 million of his evaluation. It really annoys me that, and hopefully FM will be able to sort it out and make at least some accept an evaluation that's at least closer to their value instead of being 50 million off.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that might contribute to that. Is the type of chairman you've got. If you've got Mike Ashley in charge, he's going to accept anything. If you've got a chairman like Daniel Levy, he'll try and raise the price as high as he can.
Yep, and then some.
Yeah, with loads of add-ons. And also in the staff responsibilities, if you've got your staff to deal with transfers and stuff, that might affect it.
Yeah, that I don't even touch with the staff responsibilities on the transfer parts because it just signs you really stupid players who shouldn't even sign in the first place.
Rampant, what about your thoughts on Football Manager transfers?
Well, taking it from just my save this season, I think we're seeing it in real life too. But obviously, in my opinion, a lot of the players, depending on what league they are, if they're not like EPL or perhaps even some of the English lower leagues, I feel players are really undervalued for what their actual ability is or what it could be. So basically, I think I'm in my fourth season. Yeah, I'm in my fourth season, and there was a player who's actually at Rangers in real life called Aidan Wilson, and he's came on fantastically. He's probably maybe a championship player, and I can't remember. I think it might have been Bournemouth bid some pennies for him, and then I think they've kind of been after him still, and then they bid 1 million. But for me, it's I've seen players sort of similar skill, in my opinion, and they're going for 2-3 million, but Bournemouth just think because of obviously the size of our club or the size of the league, they can bid 1 million for this player and get him rather than. So it's really just really kind of what we see in real life. I think a lot of leagues and players are undervalued. Aston Villa obviously got John McGinn for I think it was 2 million or 2.8 million. If he was playing at a championship team. In fact, there's probably an example of this. Rangers sold Waghorn, Martin Waghorn to Ipswich, and I think he's just made a move for loads, 8 million or something daft like that. So it's as it depends. You see this in FM. It's and obviously you were saying about your chairman. Obviously selling them on and stuff like that, which is really annoying. That sometimes annoys me, but luckily I've got a chairman that's not interfered. But you do get, if you're a smaller club, big clubs coming in with big money, you don't want to necessarily sell the player, but then the chairman kind of accepts it for you or whatever. It's damn.
Yeah, exactly. I think I kind of agree with you, but in some points in FM, like players are just ridiculously valued. Like if you're in the Premier League, players of a Premier League stature will be ridiculously valued. It's like Andre Gomez and Angel Gomez, sorry, of United.
Yeah.
If you try and sign him, United immediately want like 160 million. I know that's based on his potential, but it's still a ridiculous amount. And even if you try and loan him, they want, like 1.1 million, like paid monthly or whatever.
I totally agree with you, Cookie. I mean, I think it goes both ways. I think you're right. There's some players that are just undervalued, and then there's other players that are like way, way overvalued. You bid like a reasonable, or what you think is a reasonable amount, maybe his actual estimate cost, and they want like hundreds of millions, and you're like, why? Yeah, I totally agree with you, mate.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, to be fair. Like, it's just annoying whenever you put in a bid for its value, let's say it's like 30 mil, you press suggest terms, and then they come back and say, no, he's worth like 150 million or something ridiculous like that.
And just to add to that, I absolutely hate sell-on clauses. So that's the first thing that, like, I remove or try to remove, and if it's like non-negotiable, I will withdraw the transfer, wait a day, and then bid for them again. Because I just hate sell-on clauses. I don't know why. It's just a thing I've never really enjoyed. It's the same with like player contracts. I've always gave them a higher wage and took out the appearance and like goal bonuses and stuff like that. Or unused sub. The appearance fee and the unused sub. I don't know why. I just never go with them. You'll find that a lot of players will accept the contract with them off as well, so you're kind of like saving the club a wee bit money. I don't know why anyone has appearance fees and unused sub. Apparently, especially unused substitute fees. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, that's what I hate.
Yeah, I think something that really gets me is, so you'll be after a player, let's say we've used him already, let's say Andre Gomez of Everton now. So you bid for him, you put in a reasonable bid, it gets rejected, and then you'll find out like a couple of weeks later in the transfer window, he's gone to like Borussia Mönchengladbach for like 4 million. And like Everton have wanted like 60 million off you or something. I think the AI clubs do get the cheaper deal.
Yeah, I think I think the game kind of encourages you to like you know how you can make a player like top transfer target or whatever. I think it encourages you to basically unsettle the player that will become happy. But like if you don't know that, you're just going to expect the player to want to come to you if you're a decent club, but the other club won't sell you. And obviously there's other factors such as your relationship with the manager and stuff, like the other club's manager and stuff. I mean, it's a good idea, but it's also kind of like, is it that realistic in some senses, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I think the transfers in Football Manager they're realistic when it doesn't involve you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that they need to work on with Football Manager.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, so next we are going to go through our Creator of the Week, which today is, drumroll please, Fryman7, hashtag Danny the King. Now, I've chosen this guy with Sammy as Creator of the Week. I've given him a little bit of help with his episodes, going on as commentator, which is, you know, nice and unique, nice and different. I know he's had Kyle X do it, JC, and I think Mozza as well go on and do that. So yeah, we've chosen him for that reason. He's been really active in the community, he's helped quite a lot of people, and obviously he's got his YouTube stuff set up and, you know, scheduling out while he's on holiday. And I think he's doing a good job with Norwich City, so make sure you check that out. We'll put the link in the description, so make sure you go check him out on YouTube, check him out on Twitter, and yeah, just go and say hello to him.
Content a lot recently, and I'm actually engaged in it. It's so unique his idea to do this, like other people commentate on it, etc. I love it.
Yeah, same as Sammy. I really enjoyed the one he done with CJ and Moza. I thought that was fantastic and funny. Again, pretty similar to Sammy, like really unique. Enjoy his content.
Yeah, so obviously we got a couple of questions about Creator of the Week, so it's going to be someone different each week, and there's always people out there that we're looking for to be Creator of the Week, so we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll shout out a different person each week. So on to the quiz, Sammy's favourite part from last week. Last week I did forget to go through the rules as such, but what we're going to do this week is me and Rampant, who are playing the quiz, are going to buzz in saying our name, and then first person to buzz in will get to answer the question. So Sammy, are you ready?
Yes, I am. The question is, Rampant, are you ready?
No.
So obviously the theme of this episode has really been about transfers, deadline day in particular. So that's the theme of this quiz. So should we get straight into this then?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Are you sure you're ready for the easiest/hardest questions of your life? So let's start with question number 1, shall we? So this attacking midfielder is signed for £42.4 million, but what club did he move to? If you want to know, the club that sold him was Real Madrid.
CookieFM.
Carry on.
Is it Mesut Ozil?
What club did he move to?
Oh.
That was the question.
Arsenal.
There you go. CookieFM is on 1 point. Rampant, come on, man. So Andre Santos
Wait.
signed for Arsenal.
Hold on, give me 2 seconds on that. Did you say he moved for 40 odd million? Was it not?
2.4 million.
Is that euros? Because I'm pretty sure he moved for 37 million. I might be wrong, but I'm debating that.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
Oh,
Well, here.
we'll have to check those sources.
Because
Yeah, sources.
I'm pretty sure I researched this because I knew you were going to ask me about Arsenal, and I did, and I'm pretty sure it was. That's what put me off. It was fair. I'm sure it was.
It might have been euros. I'm not certain. I'd never put a euro or pound sign, so I'm not that clever.
Okay, right. Okay, so like, I'll accept it. All right, okay. Cookies.
Okay, so question number 2. Andre Santos signed for Arsenal, but what club sold him?
CookieFM.
Yep.
Flamengo.
No. Rampant.
Santos.
No. It's Fibonacci.
Ugh.
Yeah. These are all Arsenal themed questions. I'm not liking this. I'm just going to research Arsenal.
There you go. This one should be easier. January 2011. I'm thinking where this is going. Fernando Torres moved to what team?
Rampant FM.
Yeah.
Liverpool. It was Chelsea, wasn't it? Damn it.
I'm going to go with Chelsea.
Let's give it.
There you go. Yeah, so it was actually he actually got sold from Liverpool to Chelsea.
To Chelsea, yeah, I remember. I'm just horrible with these guys, so I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, you are.
Shots fired.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about this? I actually saw Fernando Torres in a pre-season friendly that season playing for Liverpool against Rangers, so I should have known it was Chelsea. But again, it's my memory is terrible. I think anyone can vouch for that, especially the likes of Moza. So, right, here we go again.
Right, question number 4. Michael Owen Read from Real Madrid.
CookieFM.
Which team? Oh, okay.
Newcastle United.
Okay, that's rather easy, wasn't it? And last but not least, question number 5. You might be kind of surprised by this one, but I have put it in there. On Sky Sports News, who normally wears the yellow tie in the final hour?
Rampant FM.
Yeah.
Is it Jim White?
Yes, Rampant!
Yes.
Oh, I was thinking that.
So you did-
I got one right.
Oh.
Yes, I'm so proud. I cannot believe. There's so many. Never mind. I can't complain. I'm just doing horribly. I can't believe I got the Fernando right. This is going to be a running theme.
No, wait. Last week, you didn't say Man City. This week, you've completely mucked up Fernando Torres.
I mean, his career at Chelsea was a muck-up, so...
Yeah.
I had a theory about that. I had a theory about why he did so bad at Chelsea. And this is going to sound really strange, but do you remember when he had like long blonde hair at Liverpool? He went to Chelsea and he shaved it, and it was like kind of dark brown. And it wasn't until he actually went back to having blonde hair at Chelsea that he started playing any good. So it must be like a blonde hair thing or something.
So, yeah. That's rather...
So
CookieFM on that quiz, quite easy. And then, obviously, that means he'll be hosting the quiz again next week. But the main question is, will we ever see Rampant FM host a quiz?
And just for anyone that's listening, I am not actually making these, like, making me be up, making up being bad at these quizzes. It's just, honestly, I don't know, I'm maybe not great at football quizzes or something.
Oh, thank you for the quiz, Sammy. Excellently hosted. A lot to live up to after last week, but the questions were excellent. I would say that because I won, but...
Rampant FM, you, for next week, I challenge you to win a quiz.
I'll try my best. But I mean, as I said, I think there might have been like 2 or 3 Arsenal. I mean, that's my weak point. You guys know my weak point already. You ask questions about Arsenal, then I'm probably not going to know them.
We have an idea for next week now, Cookie.
Yeah, so I will be hosting the quiz next week.
Every single question is about Arsenal.
That'll be my go-to answer. Watch club, blah, blah, Arsenal.
Okay, guys, it's come to that time again when we're near the end of the podcast. So, Sammy, where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me, SammyDodaFM, everywhere, apart from Twitter. Because that is a long story. If you want to know the story, you should visit my new Twitter, the SammyDoda.
Lovely stuff. And Rampant FM, where can people find you?
Well, I need to change my Twitter to @FM's worst quizzer. No, at Rampant FM for everything, basically, YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah, and you can find me at CookieFM_ on Twitter and at CookieFM on Twitch, YouTube and Facebook. You can also find the podcast on Twitter at WingingItFM Pod, and the podcast will also be live on iTunes and SoundCloud. So thank you for listening today, guys. Really appreciate it if you do subscribe to iTunes. Helps everyone else find the podcast on iTunes, and likewise to SoundCloud. Like it, leave comments, let us know how you think we're doing. And yeah, we appreciate all the feedback that we can get. I've been CookieFM, and I'll see you later.
See ya.